Imagine this, your salary increases. You finally get that raise or promotion. Naturally, you feel excited and want to enjoy life, a bigger house, nicer car, better vacations. But here's the catch, even with more money, many families don't feel richer. In fact, some feel poorer. Today, we explore lifestyle inflation, how it traps middle-class families, and why it silently eats away at wealth. Lifestyle inflation doesn't announce itself. It doesn't feel reckless. It doesn't feel irresponsible. It feels deserved. A raise comes in, and suddenly a slightly nicer apartment makes sense. A bonus arrives, and upgrading the phone feels reasonable. Work gets stressful, and dining out more often feels earned. Spending rises quietly, step by step, right alongside income. And here's the dangerous part. Nothing feels extreme. It's just a bigger TV, a few more weekend trips, higher quality groceries, more subscriptions. Individually, each upgrade seems harmless. But collectively, they absorb every extra dollar. So no matter how much income grows, wealth doesn't. Because lifestyle inflation isn't loud. It's subtle, gradual, and incredibly effective at keeping families stuck even when they earn more than ever before. Meet the Thompson family, two working parents, two kids. Combined income, $100,000 per year. They weren't extravagant, they budgeted. They paid their bills on time. They considered themselves financially responsible. For years, they lived in a modest home, drove reliable but older cars, and kept vacations simple. Then something good happened. Both parents received raises within the same year. Suddenly, there was breathing room, or at least, it felt that way. They told themselves, we've worked hard, we deserve this. So they upgraded, not dramatically, just reasonably. A larger house in a better neighborhood with better schools. A newer SUV with improved safety features. More extracurricular activities for the kids. More weekend trips to create memories. Nothing reckless, nothing flashy. Just improvements. And at first, it felt incredible. More comfort, more space, more experiences. Life felt elevated. But slowly, something changed. The new mortgage was higher than expected. Insurance costs increased. The car payment added monthly pressure. Gas, maintenance, activities, everything scaled up. By the end of the year, they reviewed their finances, despite earning more than ever before. Their savings account had barely grown, their emergency fund was thin. Retirement contributions hadn't increased meaningfully. The extra income had vanished, absorbed by a more expensive lifestyle. They weren't irresponsible. They weren't wasteful. They simply allowed their spending to rise in proportion to their income. And that's the trap of lifestyle inflation. The upgrades feel logical. They feel earned. They feel small in isolation, but together, they quietly consume every financial advantage that higher income was supposed to create. This is the core of lifestyle inflation. Income goes up, and expenses quietly rise to meet it. Sometimes they even rise faster. It rarely happens in one dramatic leap. It happens in small, reasonable upgrades. You move to a nicer apartment. The rent difference might be a few $100s, but that's not the only change. Utilities are higher, insurance increases. You buy new furniture to match the space. Maybe there's a homeowners association fee. The real cost isn't just the rent, it's the ecosystem around it. You switch to a newer car, the monthly payment fits your new salary. But insurance jumps, fuel costs increase. Maintenance and repairs are more expensive. Again, the upgrade feels manageable. Until you add it all together, then there's lifestyle comfort. More dining out, more food delivery, better hotels on vacation. Premium streaming services instead of basic plans. Each decision feels like an earned reward. And because income increased, the spending doesn't feel reckless. But here's what happens. The extra income that could have built savings, could have accelerated investments, could have strengthened an emergency fund, gets absorbed by recurring expenses. Now your baseline cost of living is permanently higher. And once that baseline rises, it's psychologically difficult to go backward. Suddenly, even with a higher income, you feel stretched again. You're earning more, but not building more. And that's the quiet danger. The harder you try to fully enjoy every raise, the less financial freedom that raise actually creates. Because wealth grows from the gap between what you earn and what you spend. When that gap stays the same, or shrinks, income growth alone won't move you forward. It just upgrades your lifestyle, without upgrading your future. So why do so many people fall into this trap, even smart, financially aware ones? Because the forces behind lifestyle inflation are psychological, not logical. First is hedonic adaptation. Humans are incredibly good at adapting. That bigger house feels amazing at first, the newer car feels exciting. The upgraded lifestyle feels like a win, but only briefly. Within weeks or months, those upgrades stop feeling special. They become the new baseline. What once felt luxurious now feels normal. And when comfort becomes normal, the brain looks for the next upgrade. Not out of greed, out of adaptation. Next comes social comparison. Most families don't compare themselves to billionaires. They compare themselves to neighbors, friends, coworkers. If people around you upgrade homes, buy newer cars, or travel more, your brain subtly redefines what's reasonable. Not because you need more, but because the reference point shifts. You don't think, I want to keep up. You think, this is just normal now. Then there's the illusion of affordability. When income increases, spending feels safer. A purchase that once felt expensive now feels manageable. Monthly payments feel small compared to a larger paycheck, but the danger is subtle. Higher income feels like freedom, so saving feels optional. Spending becomes the default. Together, these forces create a financial treadmill. You earn more, you upgrade a little, you adapt, you compare, you spend more, and despite working harder and earning more, your financial position barely changes. You're moving, but not progressing. That's the illusion lifestyle inflation creates. It gives the appearance of success, nicer things, better experiences, while quietly keeping wealth stagnant. And until you recognize these psychological forces, every raise risks becoming just another upgrade, instead of a step toward real freedom. Pause for a moment. Think back to the last time your income increased. A raise, a bonus, a new opportunity. What happened next? Did your savings grow? Or did your spending quietly expand to fill the space? Maybe nothing dramatic changed, just a few upgrades here and there. A nicer place, more dining out, better brands, more treat-yourself moments. Now ask yourself something honestly. How many of those upgrades were truly necessary? And how many were influenced by comfort, comparison, or emotion? Because lifestyle inflation doesn't come from one big decision. It's built from small choices that feel reasonable in isolation. And those choices compound. Awareness doesn't mean cutting joy or living deprived. It means deciding intentionally where your money should go. And that moment of awareness is where the cycle begins to break. After a few uncomfortable conversations, the Thompsons decided to try something different. They didn't cut everything overnight. They didn't downgrade their life. They experimented. For the first time after a raise, they tracked both income and spending in detail. Not just bills, everything. And what they found surprised them. It wasn't one big expense holding them back. It was a collection of upgrades they barely questioned. The newer SUV cost more than the payment. Insurance was higher. Fuel costs had increased. Maintenance wasn't cheap. The larger house meant more than a higher mortgage. Utilities were higher. Furniture upgrades added up. Small home-related expenses appeared constantly. Then there were lifestyle changes. More dining out, more weekend trips, more paid activities for the kids. Individually, each upgrade felt justified. Together, they were costing hundreds of dollars every single month. So instead of reversing everything, the Thompsons made intentional choices. They delayed some upgrades they had planned. They scaled back others. They asked one simple question before spending. Is this improving our life or just increasing our baseline? The money they freed up didn't disappear. They redirected it into savings, into investments, into an emergency fund that finally felt solid. And something unexpected happened. The family felt lighter. Less pressure, less anxiety, more control. They didn't feel richer because they earned more. They felt richer because they kept more. That's the lesson lifestyle inflation hides. Income alone doesn't build wealth. Raises don't guarantee freedom. Habits do. And when spending stops automatically rising with income, money finally starts working for you, instead of quietly slipping away. Here's the wake-up moment. Wealth doesn't come from earning more alone. It comes from what you don't upgrade. When income rises, raises and bonuses feel like progress. But without discipline, they simply raise the cost of your life. Lifestyle inflation is dangerous. Because it feels good, you feel richer, more comfortable, more successful, but your net worth doesn't change. In some cases, it even moves backward. The trap isn't spending on things you enjoy. It's spending automatically without intention. Breaking free requires awareness, pausing before upgrades, prioritizing savings and investments first, questioning whether a purchase adds value or just raises your baseline. Because real wealth isn't about how impressive your lifestyle looks. It's about how much freedom your money gives you. And freedom grows when discipline rises with income, not after it. The Thompson story leaves us with a powerful reminder. Wealth isn't defined by your salary, it's defined by what stays with you. How much you keep, how much you grow, how much control you actually have. Lifestyle inflation doesn't show up as a warning sign, it shows up as comfort, as convenience, as small upgrades that feel deserved, and before you realize it, your income is higher, but your freedom isn't. So take a moment and reflect. After a raise or promotion, did your savings grow? Or did your lifestyle quietly expand to match? Have you noticed subtle upgrades that raised your costs without improving your long-term security? Share your experience in the comments. Let's talk about practical, realistic ways to enjoy success without letting lifestyle inflation steal the future you're working for. Because earning more is optional, keeping more is intentional.